everybody. It's Blair with the Badass Records podcast, welcoming you in for another episode. I am pleased to share with you all that this week's guest is none other than Rodd Fenton. Check out Rodd's stuff at Solstice Audio on Instagram or at solsticeaudio.com. Also on YouTube, Facebook, and check out his band Field Daze. It's FieldDaze. KC Mo on Instagram and fielddazekc.com. Episodes of this thing here come out on Thursdays when all is right with the world. You can find it where you stream or download your music and podcasts. It's on YouTube if you want to watch it. Everything lives on the site, which is badassrecordspodcast.com, and the social to keep tabs on is Badass Records Podcast on Instagram. That's all I got for you this week. Appreciate you stopping by. Hope you enjoy the show. Wind up being episode 193 of Badass Records Podcast. Rodd Fenton, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, pleased to meet you. Nice little. Did you notice any difference in this particular shift away from daylight savings as opposed to, last year or 2 years ago? Was it just another?
I don't know. They're all hard for me personally.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah, I really sink into that like seasonal depression kind
Oh,
of thing.
sure.
Like just dark all the time.
Yeah.
It's hard.
My ex-wife is a therapist, and a day or 2 days or maybe even 3 days in, she was like, I'm talking to people about this multiple times a day, and it seems like folks are struggling. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I was like, that's weird. They're all the same. And then like day 4, day 5, and I was like, dude, I'm not adjusting to all of a sudden it's a little dusky at 4:15. It's like, the day's just, because, I don't alter the time that I go to bed or get up when those shifts happen. So it's like you're kind of missing out on the first few bits of daylight. I don't know.
It all feels like super unnatural to me.
Yeah, it's bizarre for sure. But it's dark out, and it's gonna be at 5 o'clock, and it's gonna be that way for a little while. Yeah. Solstice Audio, at Solstice Audio on Instagram, solsticeaudio.com. Analog vibe, digital accuracy. Tell me about that.
Just a nice little tagline.
It is.
Yeah.
How did it just pop in there? And
yeah, it just popped into my head one day.
Okay. Very cool. YouTube and Facebook, in addition to Instagram and the website, and then Field Daze KC Mo, also on Instagram.
Yeah, Field Daze is my current band. It's indie rock, dream pop, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Sort of project.
Let's see here. Dream pop band from KC Mo that's here to rock your world. I like that, and I like the when I first heard Loveless, My Bloody Valentine, I thought that was like a standalone sound, and just had that opinion for years. And then one of the early episodes on this, somebody was like shoegaze, and I was like, what's shoegaze? I was like, oh. It's a whole, but I like the name shoegaze. I like the name dream pop. They both are like comfy-ish feeling. I can't really describe it any better than that. But the fielddazekc.com link for the band. Love the About. Did you put that together?
I'm not sure who wrote
Okay.
that. I'm sure Dan wrote that.
Okay.
I'm scared to even ask what it says.
It's a great synopsis. It really is. It's nice. It's like 2.5 paragraphs, and it's just straightforward and sincere and no fluff, no bullshit. And I just, whoever wrote it, I deserves credit. So, but back to the Solstice Audio Instagram, producer and engineer. I know what my dumb brain definitions of those two things are, but I was wondering if you would share yours.
Yeah, I think that's tough, especially like the title producer. Like I think music genre even defines producer in a different way. And
Really?
like hip hop has like the beat producer kind of stereotype,
Fair,
whereas
fair.
like the rock world has more of the artsy, like Rick Rubin style of like guiding the artistic direction of the overall song or album or whatever. So I kind of struggle with the producer title as well. So like I think engineers also kind of overblown for, I don't know, like computer keyboard warriors.
Yeah.
Instead of like the old school analog actual engineers
Yeah.
running gear and stuff. So I don't know. I don't know if there is a perfect label for it, but
Okay.
what I say is like I like helping other artists record and create music.
Cool. Okay. For producer.
Yep.
And then engineer?
Either one. I mean.
Oh,
Yeah.
Interchangeable.
I guess just what I picture my job to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
It took me about a year to get the space ready. This room was a different version of the current form, and somewhere in the process, got gear, and then shortly after having the gear, totally froze. Analysis by paralysis, because I had to like figuring out what I should get was a thing, and I like had a little bit of confidence in learning how to use it all since I overcame that hurdle, but I could not. And I am thankful that my cousin does sound at UMKC and came over.
Okay.
I actually paid a dude, I always forget the name of the studio that he works at. Louis Pagan is his name.
Oh yeah, Louis, yeah.
I paid him. He came over twice and taught me some stuff in Pro Tools.
Nice.
And so I was feeling it good after that, but I talked to my cousin. He's like, let me come take a look and see what you got. And he goes, that's all fine and good, but you can't edit video in Pro Tools, right? And I was like, God damn it. Yeah, of course I knew that. So he came over a bunch, and so I use Reaper to record audio, and then I just plug that file with the SD card files into DaVinci Resolve.
Okay.
So he sort of walked me through. I mean, I know less than bare bones in both programs. It's just the things that I do to put one of these out. But so he came over like, I don't know, 6 or 7 times to help me with episode 1. And I remember when we like clicked save for the final time, he goes, there you go, now you're a producer. And I was like, ugh, don't say that. And then I over time was like, I mean, I am producing something that didn't previously exist.
Technically, I think it feels even grosser once you add on like the title content producer on top of that too.
Yeah. I have somewhere on one of the platforms, I have like something of that nature in my bio, like video. I don't know what it is, whatever. But it's fascinating. I know like this much in the history of music in the producer role. I used to, I was a very long cassette holdout before making the switch to CDs, but I always, whatever it was, album, cassette, CD, always really loved liner notes, track listing and runtime and personnel and lyrics, notes, anecdotes, stories, and then you get to all the meat and potatoes of the producer and the engineer and I was always, as a young person, like, who's that for? Who gives a shit about that? Now I'm like, right to it, it's
that's
fast.
me. I give a shit.
So like I've seen or I should say read about, versions where a producer is kind of the knobs and the computers and all the gear person, but also I've seen plenty of situations where artists choose producers for their input, and their input is oftentimes given, and it's like they got to like figure out where's the line to where we want your input, but it's still our thing. So don't overstep. And then sometimes producers maybe write a tune or play an instrument. It's like Quentin Tarantino always, or sometimes sticking himself in as a cameo.
I think every artist has a different expectation on what they want, and I don't know, in my experience, I just always try to have a conversation before I work with a new artist and be like, okay, what are your expectations? Do you want help with songwriting? Do you want me to just be the guy that hits record? Somewhere in between? I don't know, it's a fine line, and I try to respect the artist's wishes on that. So,
sure. Yeah. I'm a long-time Fish nerd. Like 82 shows under my belt. My kids are named after them. Like they've been my jam for a very long time. Steve Lillywhite produced Billy Breathes in '96, and they went back to him for a different record, and you can tell, and it's wild. None of their albums are the same, but it's like I wish that I knew for sure that I learned that he was the producer on that second album way into knowing the album, and I didn't connect force two dots to be connected. But and then for another record they used Bob Ezrin, who, if I'm recalling this correctly, did a bunch of work with Pink Floyd. And there's one of the late tracks on the record, there's a solo that you can feel it sort of dancing towards the Comfortably Numb vibe, and then peeling back and going back to itself. And it's so trippy to think that as a young person it was producer, and now it's dude, it matters. I mean, whether you have a person do it for you or you're doing it yourself, I mean, somehow or another your fingerprints are on that piece of work.
Yeah, I think every producer, whether they mean to or not, does eventually have their own sonic stamp, their own sound, whatever. And I think the better producers, for lack of a better term, are sought out for those specific sounds. And I don't know, I don't know if I'm quite there myself, but
you're
admire those kind of producers for sure.
So interesting that you, right out of the gate, Rick Rubin. Do you have opinions on this person as a professional in this business?
I think Rick Rubin probably gets a bad rap the same way Nickelback gets a bad rap. People love to shit on him because of who he is. And
who is he though?
He's the, I don't know, household name, token producer name, I guess, top of his game.
Yeah.
He is, he, I guess, has a bad rap for being very hands-off, though. So people wonder why they even hire him if he just shows up at the end of the day and listens to the final mixes and be like, oh, well, that's not really jiving, do it again. Instead of being hands-on with the songwriting or I don't know, something to that nature.
It's a weird time on a weird planet right now, in my opinion. And the Nickelback analogy is on point, I think, because being negative and shitty in some avenue of your life seems to now be part of the DNA blueprint. Do you listen to his podcast at all, Rick Rubin's?
No, I don't.
Tetragrammaton or something like that.
I heard of it.
Every freaking name is damn. He has, and he, listening to that a little bit and then seeing the occasional clip of him on social media, he seems really chill and zen, and and maybe even has an air of like, I've been lucky or blessed to work with as many amazing people as I have. So like I keep waiting for the aha for why people are negative about him, and it just keeps not coming.
Yeah, I think it depends on how you read him. Like I think I'm kind of neutral on him personally.
Okay.
I don't hate on him, but I can definitely see like how he can come across as kind of like the California hippy dippy like yoga
But
instructor kind
he's
of type
sharp
guy.
too, though.
Yeah,
He's
like
not dense.
he has the credits to back it up.
Yeah.
Obviously, whatever he does
Yeah.
works.
He just had Mike Gordon, the bassist for Fish, on last week or 2 weeks ago. And Mike historically has been very quiet, very introverted, very unique wardrobe thinking, songwriting. I mean, just an odd, like, very accessible, approachable, like not standoffish in an odd way. But I mean, the interview was like 90 minutes or 2 hours long, and Rick hardly spoke. And Mike's not a speaker. He's always come off as like shy and quiet, and he just talked and talked and talked and talked, and I was blown away. And Rick just kind of, you know,
You just nudged it along.
yeah. It was a really good interview. And you know, one of my times living in Waldo, while I was engaged, Christmas or birthday or something like that, and my ex got me a Neil Diamond CD, and I opened it and was like, and she goes, "Is it Neil Diamond or Neil Young that you like?" And I was like, "Neil Young," and so we had a laugh about it, but it is still one of my favorite albums to this day. It's called 12 Songs, and supposedly, I mean, Rick Rubin produced it, and Neil took an acoustic guitar to a cabin, whatever, in the woods or something like that, and spent 6 weeks or 6 months, whatever it was, a chunk of time alone, and came down and gave it to Rick, who gave it a listen and goes, "Get back up there." And it's a fucking amazing record. I don't have any idea what it sounded like, you know, the first draft,
wonder, though. Yeah,
but I mean, and then it's like you go back to the 80s and all the, you know, whatever. I think he's a fascinating dude. If I ever figure out why people like to hate on him so much, I'll let you know. Let's see here. All right. So producer and engineer, you gave me your take. So I took a quick peek at some of your Instagram posts, which really turned on the nerd light bulb for me. Because you know, if there was a dream job button I could push and it starts tomorrow, I'd be a writer. So I really like clean copy, and your copy's really clean on your posts. And you might be the first human in a long, long time that I have seen use appropriate spacing and punctuation for M dashes. M dashes in particular.
really.
Yes. It's a single space. It's 2 hyphens, the single space. And most folks either do no spaces. And I'm like, how do you look at that and not
weird,
see
yeah.
clutter and shit like you, or they'll have, like, most word processing programs, if you go hyphen hyphen, it turns it into a single.
Oh, the long,
Yeah, and I'm like,
That's-
don't do that.
feels wrong.
Yeah,
I don't know.
or I've seen space single dash space, and I'm like, guys, it's not hard. But
Yeah, I guess I never like overthought it that way, but yeah, I just type out whatever visually reads the best to me.
I think if you went to my Twitter profile, I think that is still the pinned tweet that like somebody asked like, "What's a hill that you would die on?" And I was like, "Space dash dash space." Is the
Hot take.
only way. Yeah, yeah. Nerd alert. But cool stuff. Let's see here. Verbiage, M dash. A lot of good posts I could quote from. But I'm going to go a different direction and ask you a two-parter about solstice, which, by the way, is SOLSTICE.
Yes.
Solstice sound. So, I saw the bit about the influx and the day job quitting. But tell me the details of logistics and how the space physically came to be.
Yeah, so I've like over the years recorded in wherever I lived, or even like some buddies' basements, just wherever I could make it work. At a certain point, like say like 2017, I like moved out of my apartment, started renting a home, and like suddenly had all this extra space to start like recording other bands. And so I took advantage of that. And then like once my wife and I moved in together, we both knew like I need a space to start my own studio, because that's just what I do with my free time.
Yeah.
That's what I've always done. So we were gonna remodel our basement anyways, and so we spent a good like 6 months remodeling the basement, and a good
Doing it yourselves?
us and her dad.
Okay,
He's
cool.
pretty handy. So yeah,
Nice.
Yeah, we remodeled a good chunk of that house. It was mostly her and her dad, and then once I moved in as
Okay.
well, like I helped along. But yeah, so that was about 2019.
Okay.
End of 2019.
Just tell me the status of the basement before doing any work to it and finished product.
Yeah, it was technically a finished basement
okay.
before, but it was like 1970s
Okay.
finished with like asbestos tiles.
Oh, wow.
And all that. Yeah, so we had to
Mask
pull that
up
out.
and-
Yeah, it's an old 1940s like Waldo
Okay.
house. So there was some old stuff in there, asbestos, like lead paint and stuff. So we had to like gut all that out. And yeah, it took us like a good 6 months.
Yeah. So did this like structure change room wise? Did you put up like soundproof stuff?
Structure wise, like the room stayed the same.
Okay.
I just invested a lot in like acoustic panels.
Okay.
And, like trying to dampen the room naturally. Like, so I have like the smallest couch I could find basically off Amazon.
Yeah.
And that kind of acts as like an acoustic panel too. And
Okay.
yeah.
So no, I have three sisters. One's in Chicago, two are in South Waldo at 82nd and 79th. One has had no basement issues. One has had all of the basement issues, just in terms of water and drain, blah blah blah. A lot of the folks that live here on the block have been there a long time, and not too long after I moved in, it was interesting to hear comments of them like coming in and coming through when it was on the market, just for curiosity's sake.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like we were talking one day, and this gal across the street goes, "God, that is such a dry basement." I'm like, "What? You've been in my?" Okay, I guess that makes sense. And yeah, really, it is. But even when prior to this house, living in Walden myself, there we would get water. You guys haven't had any kind of issues in that sense?
Not since we remodeled. Like there was definitely some like past water issues.
Okay.
But yeah, Amber's dad is very much of the old school nature of like do it once, do it right.
Sure.
So yeah, we made sure to take care of that.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's
Now,
been dry since.
Cool. So when you're down there, you have cans on all the time, or
Usually, unless we're running like direct for bass or whatever.
okay. But you can do whatever you want to do out of that room, and it's not really disturbing the rest of the house.
It gets a little loud in the house.
Okay.
But I don't know. My wife doesn't seem to mind. She's
Sure.
pretty patient with it, luckily.
Okay. Neighbors have never complained?
No, so we're actually, luckily, the good neighbors on the block, technically, just because we have some neighbor issues with this guy running an auto body shop out of his front yard. So, yeah, so like he's the noisy neighbor,
Oh.
and anything I do is like nothing
Yeah,
compared to this
okay,
guy. So
okay.
I can fly under the radar a little bit.
Sure. So is whatever he's doing upsetting audibly or visibly or both to folks?
It's mostly an eyesore, honestly.
Okay. Stuff everywhere in the yard or?
Yeah,
Oh.
he'll fit like 10 cars
Oh, man.
in his front yard.
Isn't there a thing that says you're not supposed to do that?
I'm sure, like parking services has been all over this guy for years.
Oh,
and
really?
They can't touch him. I don't know the full story.
He must have some
whatever.
dirt on somebody.
Yes. I don't know.
Very cool. So the second part, tell me about your gear, your process of learning how to use stuff, and learning what you need and upgrades and learning how to keep up with, when it's time to upgrade, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So overall, like my studio's like central brain, my main interface is an Apollo quad.
Okay.
And I also have like some outboard gear, some analog preamps, just to like get outside of the box,
Sure.
as they would say. But yeah, like collecting gear, it's been like a 15-year journey for me, just slowly over time, like buying super cheap stuff, leveling up, and just like trading up from there. Yeah, so as far as like learning how to use all that, like I went to UCM for their music technology program.
Rolla?
Warrensburg.
Yep. I knew that.
Yep.
I knew that. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. How long did it take to finish that program? Is it a 4 years?
It's 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a full-on like music program. Like I'm a music major technically.
Okay.
I could technically say I'm a classically trained guitarist because of that program.
Nice.
I cannot play classical guitar now. Like those skills have long left me. But
Like riding a bike?
yeah, basically.
Okay.
But yeah, I did go through like all of those like music theory classes, oral training, and like learning how to play piano as on top of like my primary instrument of guitar.
Sure.
And all that. So
Now, have you developed, if you've been doing the gear acquisition thing for 15 years, have you found yourself missing an old piece that you no longer have, or developing an opinion about how things are made in 2025 versus 2015?
yeah, there's definitely a few guitars that I've sold over the years that I miss. As far as recording stuff, I usually keep most of my stuff. Like I have almost every single mic that I've ever bought. Like I've never had a need to sell them, luckily.
Okay. Yeah.
As far as like quality of stuff, I don't know if things are like getting worse in quality per se, but like I think the industry of like marketing to consumer and like up and coming professional audio people, like there's definitely like a hot market on that, and so there's a lot of like sketchy things or lower quality things that are being marketed to people who don't necessarily know what they're buying.
But you know better. You can recognize product X there is probably not worth your investment. Okay, interesting. The appliance world, which I just like, it's like an eddy. I'm constantly, I had a dude here today looking at my stove, and I beat the heck out of it. I did 20 years in the restaurant world, almost all in the back of the house. So I beat the heck out of it, and I had a scary issue happen twice, and so I got tech came over today, and blah blah blah, and he's like, so I think the thing is that your gas valve is bad, so it's either not opening fast enough or not closing fast enough, and he looked it up, he's like, they don't make that part anymore. And we've come across this before, and found like the part that we found like doesn't fit perfectly, so you got to get an adapter, which we did, but then that adapter leaks a little bit.
Oh my god.
So if I can't find this valve, and I'm like, new stove, like
I mean, that's what I hear about most appliances.
Well,
is like hold on to the old ones.
That's
the new
precisely
ones
where I'm going with this. I think this particular, somebody, the previous owner put that range and 2 ovens in, and it's freaking awesome having 2 ovens. I don't need them all the time, but when I do, it's super, super handy. And they're good. They're quality. Like I said, I've beat the heck out of this range for 13 years, and I clean, but anyway, it's been super reliable. It's not given me any issues, but I mean, I have my washer and dryer are from 99. Nice. And every time somebody's over to replace, they're like, don't get rid of it. Mm-hmm. My primary fridge has been down since February. And both, techs and both the appliance industry has become throwaway. Mm-hmm. Slap together something with a bunch of technology in it that nobody can service or gets parts for, and so you as the consumer just throw it away and get a new one like every 5 years. I'm like, that's insane to just have $3,000, $5,000, just laying around at all times in case one of these hunks of junk kicks the bucket.
Appliances, cars too, like it's all just been shitified.
Yeah. I was driving to Colombia in January, and it was cold and it was dark, and my transmission just went. Oh
shit!
and I'm on the highway, and I was in the right lane. If you've ever been on I-70 in between here and St. Louis, mm-hmm. It's almost never slow and dull. It's almost always full of traffic and semis and folks driving. Anyway, there was an opening for me to get around a truck, and I punched it. So now I'm in the left lane. I got traffic behind, in both lanes, and all of a sudden, I couldn't do it. I was like, "Oh my god!"
The worst time.
Yeah. So anyway, I dropped a pretty penny to get it hauled, towed back to KC, and then a real pretty penny replacing that transmission. And there's somewhere in the 8 to 10 gear neighborhood. And some of them are internal and not accessible. And so it's just, you got to replace it. And I told a buddy, he's a car guy. I told him about the whole deal, and he immediately looked to see what kind of transmission was in his, and it was the same. And they sold that car within a week. Just to be like, not dealing with that. Mm-hmm. And it's, not just that vehicle, not just transmissions. It's like, all of these areas of the mechanical end of automobiles used to be like metal and steel parts, and all of these things have been replaced with plastic to cut costs, yet shit is still crazy expensive for us.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway.
And every car maker wants to basically do what Apple does and make very specific parts. So only certain chip readers can read the computers of certain cars, and then only certain mechanics can work on those cars.
Yep.
And
I mean,
it just drives up the price of everything.
I've seen a fairly in-depth video specifically on John Deere and tractors, and John Deere has to service it. You can't get the software that it's only available to, I don't know, John Deere mechanics or whatever. And so these huge pieces of equipment that are obviously crucial to what they do break down, and they're tens of thousands, super expensive. And it's how am I supposed to get this to you to service? And even if I could, I can't afford to pay what it's going to cost. It's just crazy. So you start getting gear about 10, 15 years ago, and have got a pretty comfortable feel on the pulse of what's out there and what things do, and have you found pieces where you're like, I like this piece of gear and this piece of gear, but they won't talk to each other, or they're incompatible? Any weird things like that?
Oh man. Honestly, the worst part is I had a hard time with my main interface, the Apollo. It's a Thunderbolt interface, which I run Windows, which is kind of weird in the creative space. Most people work on Macs.
Yeah.
And I probably against my better judgment have stuck with Windows. So like Windows has only been compatible with Thunderbolt for like the last few years pretty much, where it could be forced to work back in the day, but like it's only been like actually supported for a few years. And even then it's still a little shaky. So that's been a challenge for sure, but like I feel like it's been ironed out at this point.
Okay. Supported meaning like you can get in a chat box or call somebody on the phone if you need help with something, or
supported as in like Windows has like their own like in-house drivers to support Thunderbolt.
Okay.
Or like their own hardware or whatever. Like before I had to buy this like third-party Thunderbolt extension card basically to make my interface work with Windows.
Wow.
Yeah.
What browser do you use?
Chrome.
Okay. Overall, do you find, just as like a daily user of Windows for either what you do or other stuff, do you ever hit any roadblocks with the operating system? Is it pretty much safe and secure? Do you have, things that keep you up at night with it, or is it just fine?
Yeah. So actually, a couple weeks ago, like I normally don't have a problem with Windows normally. For whatever reason, Windows 11 has been kind of a nightmare, and I had this situation where I had to like totally uninstall, reinstall Windows fresh, go through, reinstall Pro Tools, all like 300 of my plugins from I don't know how many different companies that I had hunt down.
Jeez.
So yeah, that was a couple weeks ago even, and that really made me rethink the whole Windows thing.
Oh, man.
So, I don't know. I'm probably gonna switch over to Mac, even though I'm not like a huge Apple person either. So I don't know.
Yeah, this is my first. I mean, I have an iPhone, but not only my first Apple laptop, it's my first laptop. I just for years had desktops that ran with Windows, and about every 7 years it would kind of keel over and die. It's like, all right, guess I'm getting a new computer. But it was weird, just the the simplest of things, like a two-finger right. If it's not a two-finger right click, it doesn't pull up this. It's like, what?
Oh yeah.
Or not having a touch screen. I found my rhythm and got familiar with it all, but it was like really weird at first.
Yeah, I think that's been my big hesitation to even switch is like I have to be fast at what I do, and like retraining my muscle memory for a whole new operating system is just not like in my schedule at this point. Like I gotta keep sessions flowing.
Yeah, but neither was fresh Windows install and 300 plugins. And
Yeah, I got it done in 12 hours.
Dang.
And did a session the next day. And
Wow.
I've been good since.
Okay,
so
cool.
knock
Very
on
cool. Yeah,
wood,
exactly. So another sort of silly in the vein of producer engineer question, mixing versus mastering. Can you tell me?
Yeah, so I guess when like mixing and mastering first became a thing, so mixing would be like combining the separate instruments into one solid file, like one final mix. And then mastering would be, at least back in the day, like preparing the final files or whatever for duplication or whatever medium it's going to go on, whether it's for vinyl or CD or cassette or whatever. And that was the final like quality check on those songs.
Okay.
Whereas nowadays, mixing and mastering's kind of been blended into one thing more or less. Like it can be done all at once, more or less.
Interesting.
It's kind of gotten a bad rap of, well, you just throw on a limiter on the master file there and just turn up the volume, and that's mastering.
Yeah.
Quote unquote. So, yeah, that's the lazy idea of mastering now. So I think it's gone from like a mysterious black magic process that people don't understand to an overlooked thing that doesn't really get attention anymore.
So to me, and it doesn't have to be any more in depth than this because I don't do any of that stuff, but engineering is like setup and arrangement of things and like what you're choosing to mic and the sort of skeleton of the whole thing. Mixing is adjusting volumes of the different instruments to your preference.
Yeah, so it's mixing would be after the production, after recording. It's all post-production. It's all managing what you've recorded.
Yeah, and then mastering is like that final save, that final Control S or whatever.
Yeah.
Dumbed all the way down. I definitely respect the three things as their own entities and acknowledge that one person can do it and wear all three hats. What I don't understand, and you know, this came up going through your list and with most folks' lists, the default in the digital world of an album is the 20th anniversary remaster. It's just like, dude, give me the fucking thing the way that they made it. The team, the artists, the producer, all the people. I want it that way. Like, and you know, every once in a while, if I'm curious, I'll toggle back. You know, it's album A, and I'll listen to track 3 for a minute on this version, and then again on the and it's like I'm getting nothing.
I don't know. For me, on the nerdy side, like it's kind of fun to compare, but ultimately, like I don't care about remasters unless like the original really sucks.
Right.
But like my emotional attachment is to the original.
Yeah.
Obviously, like
Which is not the default.
Yeah. Like if I am still listening to an album 20 years later, like I want to hear that version.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm emotionally attached to.
And it's like, I guess I get that the newer remastered anniversary version maybe has a couple of or a bunch more tracks that the original didn't have, or there's some, I don't know, longer versions. And so the end user is spending more time in that than they would if they went with the 11-track, 71-minute original. I mean, I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
that's fun too if
you gotta
they throw
follow
on some
the
B-sides
money.
or something.
Yeah. But trying to follow the money bit of it, it's like, is that why? Is it for more stream time on the end user part?
I'm sure that's part of it. Like on one hand, yeah, it feels shitty to have like a major label do yet another remaster of the Beatles collection and like try and sell it to you.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, if it's like your favorite band and they're no longer signed to a major label and they're just trying to like make ends meet or still support the dream, can you really fault them for trying to, I don't know, get some support from their fans still?
Right. So CMU, you're in and out in 4 years ish.
Yeah, 4.5.
4.5.
If you tack on like the internship that I did.
Okay, what was that?
So I interned at Soundworks Recording in Blue Springs with Andy Oxman.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Blue Springs has more than one recording studio.
I've heard of a few out there, yeah.
I had the fellas from GFM
Oh yeah.
if you're familiar with them. They came and did an episode together, which was a lot of fun. And then they started this. They talked about it on their episode. Started this writers' room thing, where they're going to start having sessions where an artist that they have worked with or are working with will perform like a little set for a small audience.
That's cool.
I was like, holy shit, that sounds awesome. So they invited me to the first one. I got to go. It was a lot of fun. I sat with the audience for a little bit and then went in the room for a few minutes and watch the dude spin the knobs and look at the monitors and all that stuff. And I sort of left thinking, like, I was real appreciative. I sort of left thinking like I was going to have a permanent seat, but they just keep doing other sessions and not asking me to come. Oh, but anyway, they have a nice little space out there. And so 4.5 years, including the internship. Did you grow up in the area?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Independence.
Okay.
But I grew up in Pleasant Hill.
Oh, okay. Okay, interesting. Pleasant Hill. I did see some Eggs on Mars, Brad Smith.
Yep, went to high school with him.
Okay, okay, funny. He was he did an episode with me, and it was a blast. And
yeah, Brad's actually he's a good friend of mine, but
Okay.
he's the reason why I found out about this podcast too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. He we wound up. It must have been winterish time, because it's like house number's hard to see. There's a basketball goal, and then you come down, and there you were standing by it for a second. There's like a little dribble stick that my daughter used to work on, and then the pop a shot, and so we wound up talking basketball or I probably was talking basketball to him, like on and on and on, and I was like, yeah, I did the thing that everybody does. You're a tall dude. Did you play at all? And he's like, yeah. I think I still have like a couple of high school records, and I was like, yeah. Holy smokes. Okay. Okay. So Independence, Pleasant Hill, and then were you looking at other schools besides CMU when you were wrapping up high school?
I don't know. I considered a few, but like UCM was willing to give me a pretty decent scholarship.
Cool.
And it was
Scholastic.
It was their black and red scholarship. What? Yeah, I think it was just based off of ACT scores.
Oh,
or
wow.
something like
Okay.
That, so
Okay.
If I remember right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they were the ones willing to give me the most money to go there, so that definitely helps. It was close to home, and I later found out it has one of the best music tech programs
Cool.
in the region. So, like,
Did you live down there at all, or did you? I
lived in Warrensburg for like while I was
the whole
going to
time
school there. Yeah,
because one could commute, right?
Yeah, I could. It was like a 45-minute drive.
Okay.
Every day
How
for
often?
like 8 a.m. classes. So that's not
no,
always fun.
no. Did you come home a bunch since you were so close, or did you find you wanted to stay, or?
Yeah, at the time I had a girlfriend who still lived in Pleasant Hill, so
Okay.
yeah, I came home a lot. And looking back, I feel like I probably missed out on a lot of stuff going on campus.
Sure.
And what my friends were doing there and that kind of thing.
Right on. So Eggs on Mars is still they're still alive, right?
Yeah, it's still kicking.
And have you guys ever shared a bill together, Field Daze and Eggs on Mars?
No, we've been talking about making that happen though. So hopefully in spring we'll make that happen.
Okay. On the fielddazekc.com website, there's a music tab that opens a window, and it's got 8, 9, 10 tracks on there.
Yeah, I think we got about a dozen songs streaming.
Okay. So is there a theme to those tracks? Are there other tracks that you have recorded that just aren't up there?
We got some other material kicking around. So everything that we have streaming right now has been like stuff that I've produced just out of my own space, and we've taken a few different approaches to writing those songs just over the years. I don't think there's like a single theme or anything tying them together
Okay.
really.
Okay.
But we did just recently. I decided especially going full time with my studio, like I have to focus on like my other clients and all that. So I decided to hire out my own band's recording to Ian Dobbins at Element Recording. So
Okay.
we just finished 3 songs with him.
Cool.
And those will also probably be out in spring.
So you got the time investment for your clients and you've got the time investment for your band.
Right.
But you can't do the studio piece for your own band.
Right.
At some point, you run out of hours in the day.
Yeah, like the desire's there, but especially since I decided to go full time with the studio, like I have to prioritize like the business side and what actually like supports me.
Yeah.
Whereas like I still like I love Field Daze, but they are my creative outlet, my
Sure.
hobby still. Like we're not trying to like make it
Yeah.
as a band. This
Yeah.
is like fun.
Yeah. Are there 6 of you?
5.
5. And how long has Field Daze been around?
Dan and I, our singer Dan, originally started like trading some demos back in 2021.
Okay.
And then we had our first show spring of 2022.
Okay, cool. And so give me the lineup if you would, please.
So we
Dan
have
singing.
Dan Camino on vocals and guitar. I'm on second guitar. We trade off like lead and rhythm depending
Nice.
on the song. We have
No vocals for you?
no,
Not
I'm
even
not a
backing?
singer.
Not even
No.
backing?
I personally don't.
Can't do an ooh la la every couple of...
So originally Brad from Eggs on Mars was our original bassist, and he did backup vocals.
Oh,
So yeah.
okay.
Since then, like Lucas Soares stepped in as our current bassist, and he's taken up the role of doing backup vocals.
Okay.
And then we have Tracer Brew on drums and Kyra Laswell on synth.
Okay, cool. Now the stuff, the tracks that are visible on the website, are those, I should have looked, but I didn't. Are those elsewhere streaming wise?
Yeah, they should be pretty much everywhere.
Okay, cool. And then my memory might be a little foggy on this, but I feel like on the Solstice Audio Instagram page in the bio, is there a link somewhere to a playlist?
Yeah, I do have a link tree on there.
Okay.
To go to like my sampler whatever playlist, and I think I have a few up there. Yeah.
Okay. So what's on that, or what's on those?
Just like a portfolio highlight reel, I guess, of like my bigger projects, my more recent projects, the ones that I'm like really proud of, or like had the most hand in shaping, or
Cool.
whatever. Yeah.
Cool. Were those fun to put together?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, nice. Very good. So okay, Independence, Pleasant Hill, Warrensburg for school, siblings?
Yeah, I have a few. I have a half brother, Lane, that I grew up with, and then through my dad, I also have some half sisters as well. But
Okay.
yeah.
Any idea how mom and dad connected initially?
They went to high school together.
Okay. Also in the area?
Raytown.
Raytown. Okay. Do you recall when you were a little person under whatever roof you're being raised in, was there music being played in the home, music being listened to?
Yeah. I mean, my parents split when I was pretty young.
Okay.
So like I had 2, I guess, different experiences
Sure.
of like my parents playing different kinds of music, and my mom was more on like the alternative rock, like 90s college rock, whatever you want to call it, sort of vibe. Like she loves the presidents of the United States of America, like
Okay.
Puddle of Mud.
Wow.
That kind of stuff.
Mom's rocking out.
Right. And then my dad's more of the like old school thrash, like Metallica kind of
Okay.
stuff.
So
yeah,
they
hair
both
metal.
they both lean heavy.
Yeah.
Heavy-ish.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's, the current living, breathing version, your taste in music, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the stuff that mom and dad were listening to. Is there, not from the list you shared with me or anything that was being played by them, is there an album that like really turned on that light bulb or caught your attention, or maybe was the first one you bought with your own money, or anything stand out?
That's not on my list.
Yeah.
The first album I bought with my own money, um, my grandma took me to the mall, Independence Center, back when that was still a thing. I think it's about to close, but um, yeah, there was like a Sam Goody or whatever CD store was there at the time, and she dropped me off. I was like 10, so I don't know. Back then, it was cool to just like let your kids wander around the mall. I guess.
I mean,
she was next door, like sniffing candles or whatever grandma was doing.
my oldest is a freshman in high school, and they do that all the. We are always somebody's always taking a group of them to fill in the blank mall, and then somebody's picking them up, and it's like, have fun,
Yep.
Anyway,
So I was there. I was like 10, and Bowling for Soup's "A Hangover You Don't Deserve" just came out.
Wow.
And my friends were blasting 1985 constantly, and I was like, okay, well, I have the money. I should buy this. And I picked up the CD, and I saw I had like the explicit lyrics, whatever, a sticker on there, and I got super nervous. Like, am I allowed to buy this? Like, grandma's not even here. Do I even take it up to the counter?
Yeah.
Are they gonna kick me out?
Yeah.
Like, my anxiety was just like through the roof over like a little sticker, and it was fine. Like, they let me bought it, but
yeah.
yeah, that was my first, I don't know, CD that I bought by myself.
Okay, cool. Do you know the story of how that sticker wound up on that album cover?
Oh, like the whole Tipper Gore
Yeah.
saga. Yeah. And Dee Snider and
PM Art.
Yep.
And John Denver and Frank Zappa.
Yep.
Have you ever gone down that YouTube rabbit hole?
Yeah, I watched it on VH1 back when that was a thing. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm super biased because I'm a huge Zappa guy, but and I had Twisted Sisters. Whatever the record that had "We're Not Gonna Take It" and "You're Gonna Burn in Hell" and all that. I had that cassette. My dad was a huge John Denver fan, so no shade to them, and they had great messages. But I mean, Zappa shows up with a briefcase and just undressed. Everybody's like, "Get this fucking guy out of here!" And then he's just totally clear, decisive victory, but yet the label still stayed because. Anyway,
but then it turned out to be cool. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Funny how that works.
Yeah.
What about live music? First or early memories of a concert or concerts?
Ooh, yeah. My first concert was the NSYNC No Strings Attached tour in like 97, 99.
Wow.
Somewhere back then.
What venue?
Arrowhead.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're flying around on their like trapeze artist, whatever, strings and shit.
Yeah.
It was wild. My first like actual rock show though, I want to say it was Ozfest 2007.
Okay.
The free year my dad took me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Also Arrowhead or?
That was out at Bonner Springs.
Okay.
Whatever they
Sandstone?
call that. Yeah, Sandstone is
always.
the correct answer. But yeah.
So your trajectory as a musician is born at what age, and what's the story?
I took a guitar class in 8th grade.
Okay.
It was like a short, like 3-month guitar class, not even like a full school year kind of thing. So I got like the very basics from that. Like, I think we covered the notes on the first and second string, and that's as far as we could get to like make sure everyone in the class could keep up. And from there, I just like self-taught off of guitar tabs from Ultimate Guitar.
Cool.
And it was all like Metallica riffs and shit for years. And From there, I started doing like just like home covers basically, and that's where I found like my love for the recording side of things.
Oh,
And that's
because you're messing around. And you're like, I need to document this so that I can.
right.
It'll help teach
I got to
you.
hear how bad I am, basically.
Right?
Yeah. So, yeah, that was high school by then. I went through this like really rough breakup in like junior year of high school, and I just threw myself into recording all these
Okay.
terrible guitar covers, and that's how I spent my time for a while just to get through that.
Is this today you looking back and putting the terrible label on them, or who's doing that?
Me looking back.
Okay. I mean, they serve some kind of purpose.
Oh yeah,
right?
for sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Like every bad cover is the next step to
That's right.
a good cover
That's
or
right.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so from there I went into the music tech program at UCM kind of accidentally. Actually, I was at freshman orientation like right before semester started my freshman year, and like I heard across the room like, oh, anyone interested in music technology, follow Dr. Honor to go do the campus tour. And my mom was sitting next to me at the time and like nudging me like, hey, that sounds like
That's
the crap that you've been sitting in your room by yourself doing for months on end. Like maybe we should go check that out.
Nice.
Yeah, so she was always super supportive about
Cool.
pursuing music, and yeah, I'm pretty lucky with that.
So you've parted ways with some guitars that you occasionally wish you hadn't. How many do you think you've had from first until today, all the way through today's collection?
Maybe like 6.
Okay.
I don't know. Like I'm not a huge collector, I guess,
Sure.
but
All electric?
mostly a couple acoustics here
Okay.
and there. But
Do
yeah,
you still have an acoustic?
yeah,
Do you pick it up ever?
every once in a while.
Okay.
Not so much recently. It was a acoustic electric with like the tuner built in and stuff
Okay.
on top. For whatever reason, the tuner, like the plastic on it, caved in, and so it fell into
Into the body?
yeah.
Oh,
So I
man.
have to like dig that out and like cut off the wires and stuff. And so yeah, I haven't picked it up since.
I watched a video a month or so ago of, I mean, I couldn't even begin to tell you, like, what, I mean, I think I commented, like, what is happening? Because this repair person, this mechanic, this engineer, whatever you want to say, has just the neck, like takes the whole guitar apart and then takes the strings off and takes all of the steel, like fret dividers, whatever the term for that little things are, and then fully resurfaces and like fills those and then cuts new grooves and puts new pieces. I mean, it was this whole crazy thing with obviously very guitar specific gear to help the process. And the comments, I had to go to the comments to figure out what we're doing here, and it was something to do with like the neck bending or warping or something over the years,
Trying to level the neck or
something like that. It was bananas because I didn't know that kind of thing went down, like in terms of just getting rid of it or replacing it or being like, yeah, this is how this guitar plays, and so I only pick it up for certain occasions. But to really strip it down to its barest of bones and start from scratch, I was like, I mean, it was hours and hours. I deduced from how these clips were put together in one video, but
yeah,
crazy.
It's crazy what guitar makers do, and it's so cool to like watch the process. But I am not handy enough to like do that myself.
Yeah, same. In fact, like I said, 20 years in the restaurant business, and dealing often with equipment breaking down.
Oh, I'm sure.
And those companies, oftentimes I thought, man, that's the business I should have gotten into, because you're getting drive time coming from the previous place, and then if there's a fee for the appointment, and there's a truck fee and labor and parts, and then it's wild, but you got to have that stuff. And I've have over those years paid a fair amount of attention to like, gosh, if this is a gasket or something that I can maybe replace on my own and we don't have to pony up $1,100 to keep
Right.
this fridge running. So, I Googled what to do with my range. And it was like, first thing you got to do is, unplug it and then shut off the gas. And I was like, I can do that. I know exactly how to do those two things. So I got all the drawers out and unplugged it, and I'm looking, and there's no lever for the gas.
Oh.
So I tell my neighbor this, and he goes, probably in the basement. And I was like, oh, because everything under the kitchen is crawl space.
Oh no.
And it's about here is the bottom of the door up. So it's a step ladder situation to get up and get in there. And it's not my favorite place in the house.
Yeah, I bet.
It's in fact it's the go-to joke for the,
Where you hide the bodies.
well, for the kids. Like,
oh,
hey man.
Oh, be good or you go in the crawl space.
I was like, oh my God. I don't want to go in the crawl space.
Oh
Anyway.
my God.
So, dude gets here and he's like, first of all, you can do that. Second of all, you can turn it off at the meter, but it'll shut off your hot water and
Right.
blah, blah, blah. I was like, I don't do that. He's like, also the PSI coming out is so minimal, and you just pop it off and you can just plug it with your thumb and then put the new whatever on. And I was like, and that was good to learn in terms of like an anxiety panic standpoint, but also, him, okay, here's what I think. And it was an ordeal to get the thing out of the counter hole and then in parts. And I was like, okay, like check in terms of, was this the right choice calling this person? Because I might be able to do it. And then quickly.
Oh, so you're like standing over his shoulder the whole time?
Well,
like,
I mean, I gave him space, but yeah. I mean, and I explained all of the details, the nature of it, and just feeling like I feel like this is a safety issue for me to keep using it, so that's why you're here. But yeah, I was like, immediately, I was like, okay, yeah, it was wise that I reached out to a professional, because this is it's way beyond anything that I would be capable of. So you start playing guitar, and at some point in that journey, the want to record the stuff, was there a particular moment, or was it a series of events where you're like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm going to get this piece of gear and start recording my stuff?
As far as like, I don't know, like pursuing it as like a business, or
no, what did it look like in its initial phase where you're like, I should get fill in the blank piece of gear to record what I'm doing with this guitar?
I don't know. I think it was just such a slow trickle of like collect this one thing, and like it started with like a Christmas present of like this like very basic early 2000s technology of like just a simple guitar interface, and so I could just plug into the computer without an amp, and then from there it was
and record.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And from there it was like, okay, buy one microphone, and then it just took a long time to save up all the money, because like gear is very expensive, especially for a high school kid and then a broke college kid. And, yeah.
So when this starts, I mean, are you like, how does the online marketplace look then compared to now? Were you at any point driving to a brick and mortar and purchasing stuff, or have you always just bought online?
Oh yeah, I mean, I used to go to Guitar Center all the time.
Okay,
like my mom used to work at the Walmart next to Guitar Center in Independence, so it's like a pretty simple stop for me at the time. But yeah, from there, like Craigslist was still a big deal back then, so I got like some used gear off there over time. Now it's like Facebook Marketplace, and I have a bad habit of just like doom scrolling that, looking at all the gear on there, and obviously like there's like Sweetwater for like buying brand new stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. I had there's a place. It's in Westport now. It started off in St. Joe called Skate Bar.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I had the owners come do an episode, and it was like they're like, we come to Kansas City every Sunday, so we could do a Sunday. And I was like, that sounds awesome, except for the we part, because I'm totally geared for one-on-one interviews. And they're like, well, and I was like, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. So what I ended up doing was getting a couple stools and just saying, you're gonna have to lean, like,
Oh
it's
yeah.
your turn to talk, lean into the mic, and vice versa. That's the only thing I can do. And they're like, no problem. And then they were like literally the two like most soft-spoken humans that didn't lean a single time. So it's the audio isn't great. And then the GFM Recording Studios dudes from Blue Springs, they did a much better job. Obviously, I knew to really hone in on that point. But at some point, I reached out to my cousin and I was like, so if I want to like, because a lot of times a band will be like, should we all come? I'm like, no, it's, you can, there's a couch, but it's a one-on-one interview. And anybody that's in the room, first of all, you're going to like 1 versus 2 people temperature wise in this room is a spike. It's a noticeable spike.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Every additional body is really gonna, and also there'll be completely off mic and completely off camera, which gets tricky because
If you start like talking to someone over there.
And so you gotta be mindful of like repeating, otherwise the listener's not gonna hear it. It's sort of like the podcasters that do video, like you gotta remember to speak like a sports commentator to the radio listener that's not watching the game on TV.
Yeah.
You got to describe. I can't go like this and assume that everybody listening is going to know that I just did that. I have to say it anyway. So I said to my cousin, if I want to like get more folks or start pulling in audio clips, and he's like, you're gonna find yourself on Sweetwater buying a new interface, and I was like, whoop. Can't. There's no more to spend on this thing.
It's a slippery slope too.
So you're doing this stuff recording wise for fun as a young person. Was there a moment or a series of events where you're like, maybe I should, maybe I could do this for a living?
Yeah. I mean, right after school, I spent some time, like I had like a retail job to like hold down the fort, but I also like tried to take on some freelance jobs here and there. I tried like doing audiobooks for Amazon. I tried like I worked on like a documentary doing like on-site sound and then like the post-production of that. So that was kind of cool, but that was the only time that I worked on something like that too. So I just like dabbled in a bunch of different things and like live sound a little bit here and there. But yeah, it had always been like my retail job was what I focused on, I guess, to bring in the money. And from there I like left that and went into insurance and like had a career in that for a while. And eventually like my job in insurance just became such a pain and did not match with my personal values. And I don't know, it just all kind of came to a head a couple of years ago, and I had already started the process of like I branded the studio to like start taking on clients more seriously, and I started like getting actual people like reaching out to me to hire me, and like I was doing very little like promotion to do that. And so like I saw this opportunity to take a leap and go for it.
Cool. So now, excuse me, do you find that you do or don't have to market? Do folks that find you, are there enough of those to keep you pretty busy?
Yeah, a lot of it's been word of mouth.
Okay.
I'm not a big social media person. Like, I don't post a whole lot. So, like, thank you for the compliments on the
Yeah.
posts.
Yeah.
That means a lot. But I'm not like someone who's like posting Instagram reels or TikTok. Like, I don't do TikTok.
Sure.
I want to stay in the dark in that
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
So yeah, so a lot of it's been through word of mouth. There is at the Rhino in North KC, the venue there. Every about 6 weeks, there's like a music industry meetup thing that Riley Corbin hosts, and that's been pretty good for me as far as like finding clients there and just getting to meet other professionals in the industry as well.
Cool. Um, you land on Solstice as your name. How?
Um, I remember making a list of like 5 or 6 different names just in a random brainstorming session, and I think most of them had already been taken, and the others didn't make sense from like a branding perspective. I guess like I couldn't think of like a cool logo or something to make for that. So it doesn't actually have like any like deep
Okay.
significance
Okay.
really,
It's
but
a cool word though.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
regardless of outside of what you do, it was a cool word to begin with, and I think it was a cool choice
Yeah, thank you.
to take something cool and add a different wrinkle of cool to it,
Mhm.
if that makes sense. Um, man, I am still kind of tripping out about your list. I'm really grateful that you agreed to do this and shared it with me.
Mhm.
It's I say this all the time, but it's the person replying to correspondence, because there are plenty that don't ever,
I'm sure. Yeah.
and engaging in that communication and agreeing to do it and showing up is without it the thing doesn't continue.
Yeah.
So I'm always really grateful when somebody commits and shows. The initial viewing of a list looks several different ways. Um, Sometimes it's like got a couple of things or all of the things that are like in my wheelhouse. Like I know a couple of your records or all of your records like the back of my hand,
Mhm.
which is a fascinating. It's a fascinating version in that I don't need to listen to those records because I know them so well. Perhaps I should, give them each of them a scan or a revisit to, am I a different person than I was the last time I listened to Abbey Road or whatever.
Yeah.
And then there's stuff that is like definitely not my wheelhouse, and that takes. I mentioned when we were walking in the room about the phone and how easily distractible we are.
Mhm.
If I'm not, invested, it can be unfair or easy to. You're listening, but you're not really listening, so you're not really getting the thing.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And then the other one is I don't know what any of these words mean. Is this English? I can't tell what the album title is and the artist because I've never seen any. I don't know any of this stuff,
Mhm.
and that's you.
Nailed it. All right.
So it's funny because like I'll get the email message on my phone, and I'm always eager to see like who is this character? What made their list? How do they communicate? Are they committed to? That's why I asked for the list before I give you the dates, so that hopefully you feel a little bit committed to the
Yeah.
thing.
Sure.
Because a lot of folks are like, "Oh my God, that was hard to do." Anyway, so it was that. Yeah, I saw it and like, I don't know what any of that
Yeah,
means.
there's some deep cuts in there, I guess.
And that has happened a lot of times, which is good because like I might go through my whole life and not ever know that any of these bands or their records existed. So it's helpful if you're a person that cares about like, growing your knowledge of the
expanding
industry.
your horizons.
Exactly. But it has never happened with this kind of verbiage. And I mean, album titles, song titles, chapters and odysseys and voyages and like, which I obviously got, I got a small little bit at first glance, right? There's some lengthy stuff happening in the titles of your list, but it wasn't until I was in the seat and I was like, what?
Yeah, when the album titles have multiple commas and colons in them, yeah, you're in for a ride.
Yeah. So, if it's okay with you, and please say so if it's not, I usually just roll through them in release order.
Okay.
If that's okay. If you want to do it a different way, we can do that. So, and in saying that, I might be off on one because one particular artist looks like they put out a record by the same name and then later put out that record again. I don't know.
I think I know what you're talking about.
I
think one was a live album.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So, a lot of stuff happening in 2005 on your list. So it's always a funny deal when it's like, okay, 2005. Oh, 2005. Oh, 2000. Oh, shit. Now I got to find out the month if I want to go in order. But April of 2005, and this is, if I'm wrong about anything, please correct me. Like, I'm just doing the best I can.
Yeah, go for it.
Between the Heart and the Synapse, the receiving end of Sirens, April of 2005. 4 total studio releases. 2 EPs, 2 full length, and this one's 13 tracks, 70 minutes, post-hardcore out of Belchertown, Massachusetts. Talk to me about your discovery of this band and how you grew to love this record.
Man, I'm not even sure where to start. So, yeah, I definitely found a lot of albums that I loved in that like 2005, 2008 sort of era. That's, I guess, for whatever reason, where my brain really was in terms of musical taste. Like that's where it all came into a big culmination there.
You finished high school what year?
2010.
Oh, okay. You're a young person. Or did you find this when it came out or after the fact?
A little after. I
okay.
think. Yeah.
But you were pretty young when you found it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still in high school.
Okay.
So not to jump ahead too far, but like I found out about this band through the Coheed and Cambria like fan forums back when forums were all the rage on the internet before Reddit took over everything.
You mess around with that?
Reddit?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No, not for me. Yeah, I found a lot of bands that I fell in love with through those fan forums. Cobalt and Calcium was the website. So yeah, there was like obviously like the fan dedicated forum for like Coheed and Cambria, and then there was like the other section of like all the music recommendations of like, oh well, you love this band, check out these other bands, and so that's where the receiving end of Sirens came from for me.
Okay. This is like, I mean this when I say I'm not trying to throw shade at anything else on your list, but this really knocked me for a loop, to quote The Green Mile, one of my favorite movies. So you talked about Dad and thrash and Metallica covers and so on and so forth. Heavy has never really been the lane that I've resided in. Like I obviously growing up had friends that were like way into Metallica, and we would listen to some of that. And I, for a very long time, was of the opinion that anybody can turn it up, play power chords, and scream. That's young me, right? I know that there's a lot. It's a lot more complex than that. Metal is still like, and heavy stuff is still not my cup of tea. But Metallica records have made plenty of lists. So have other equally heavy and way heavier. So I gotta get in there and do it.
So I will say, like, I'm not actually a big metalhead personally. Like, yeah,
Right.
outside of like Metallica, like
Right.
I feel like most guitarists start out with like Metallica riffs
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's a cliche. It is kind of weird that like a lot of the heavier stuff that I grew up listening to ended up making this album or this list. But like me nowadays, like I generally don't listen to stuff this heavy
Sure.
anymore.
So, but I say all that to say, this, and I'm not like putting just a generic heavy label on this, but what this is should have been something that I struggled to stay tuned in with, and didn't just all of a sudden, okay, I'm listening and I'm learning, and it shifts to background noise without even that much awareness.
Mm-hmm.
I was intrigued track after track after track, and I just thought it was super cool, and I definitely did not think that was going to be the case. When I pulled them up and then hit play on the thing, and it was just phenomenal, and unlike anything I've ever heard before. So I'm really glad you put it on your list and shared it with me.
Yeah, I definitely heard you say in like some previous podcasts that, like, heavy stuff isn't like your wheelhouse.
Yeah, yeah.
I was wondering how you were gonna like receive some of these albums for sure, and I realized after the fact, like, I gave you some really long stuff to listen to.
Yeah.
So sorry.
No. There's
Afterwards, but
plenty of for lack of a better example, 70s classic rock records that are 10 tracks, 47 minutes. It's just like that. There was a formula, and runtimes didn't. It was unique if your runtime varied, on the lengthier end of 3:45 or 4.5 minutes or whatever. What episodes have you explored of this podcast?
I watched Brad Smith's episode. You did an episode with Joshua James, who I just worked with recently.
Cool.
So watch that one.
He was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Did you watch Brad's when it came out or recently?
I want to say I found it on accident like 6 months ago.
Really?
Or so, yeah.
Just on YouTube?
I think Spotify, something like that.
Okay. Interesting. Wow. Man, and I mean, the verbiage, like the heart and the synapse, like it's cool. I haven't landed on a meaning for me, but I have not stopped thinking about this notion of the receiving end of Sirens.
Oh, the Sirens call?
Yeah. I mean, it's just fascinating. So it's a really great place to start.
Yeah, I think what this band in general does really well is like they are kind of like a walking thesaurus. Their lyricism is so beyond just like basic rhyming structures, and I think that's part of what draws me to this. And then like the composition as well. It's just like they have 3 singers and they all bring different vocal melodies throughout the song, and then they'll do like callbacks and like do vocal rounds and cannons and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like classical music techniques in a very heavy setting.
Yeah, for sure. I think back to some high school moments listening, being forced to listen to like pieces of Kill 'Em All and Ride the Lightning and Justice for All, and just being like, I just can't wait till this is over and we can put something else on, like, you know, whatever, grunge, jam band, you know,
Yeah.
hip hop, anything. But to sit, and I have put on all three of those Metallica records for sure, plus most of the catalog of Tool, who I always respected, and you know, from a distance, like I've not had never spent a bunch of time, but I mean, you sit down and listen to a Tool record start to back, and it's bonkers. Like Metallica and Tool have a similarity in my experience, where there's like a real warm, soft, inviting, riffy chunk of a song in like the opening 90 seconds, and then you get into the you know, but I'm here now. You got me. You got me good, and I'm here. And then you got the bulk of the thing, and then it oftentimes concludes very nicely too. And you roll through 10, 11 of those tracks and go, God damn, I'm not a metal guy, but that was a great record. So it's been helpful, you know, all right, here we go.
Yeah, I like it because it's not a Metallica record. It's not
No.
kind of that, I guess, the lowbrow stereotype that metal usually gets.
Yep.
I guess there is so much like thought obviously put into this and all the different pieces and
For sure.
instrumentation. And I don't know. Every time I listen to this album, I hear like a new melody or something.
Cool. Do you have a physical copy of it?
I don't.
Okay. I should have looked to see what the story is behind the album cover art. Do you happen to know?
Honestly, I don't.
Okay. This is because it's a fascinating, old-timey, Renaissance-y looking
Yeah,
dude.
it reminds me of like some Da Vinci.
Exactly.
Stuff,
Yeah. Well, okay, so from April of 2005 to September, and specifically the 20th, Coheed and Cambria. Is that right? That's not right. Receiving into Sirens is April of 2005. Oh, yeah. Okay.
I think the next two came out like a week apart from each other or something.
Good Apollo and Burning Star 4, Volume 1, From Fear Through the Eyes of Madness.
Nailed it.
3 of 11, including one from this year. In March, apparently, they put out a record.
Oh, yeah.
15 tracks, 71 minutes. We're 2 for 2 on artists and albums that have never made a list on this podcast. Progressive rock out of Nyack,
Yep.
New York. Absolute trip. Tell me how this outfit made your radar or hit your radar.
Oh man. I had a buddy back in 8th grade who was a fan already, and I remember him talking them up a lot, and I'm like, it was kind of like in my background of like, oh, I'll check them out sometime. And then I got an issue of Guitar World magazine. Every month they have like 5 songs tabbed out in each issue, and The Suffering off this album was in that issue.
Tab is where you on paper or on a screen, you can see the fret and the string and what finger.
Yeah,
like
it's a guitar chart based off of the numbers of the guitar frets on the neck.
Okay. Easier than reading sheet music if you're trying to learn how to play guitar, right?
I think so.
Okay.
I think it depends on
the person.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair. Okay. So Suffering winds up in an issue.
Yeah. So The Suffering ended up in an issue. I at the time had no way of like actually listening to the album. Like I didn't have the album. I didn't have like the internet yet. So I asked to borrow the CD from my friend Chris, who was raving about this band, and I put on The Suffering and tried to like learn it on guitar, and it just clicked for me for whatever reason. Like The Suffering was like the catchiest song I've ever heard in my life at that point.
Nice. Um, so it clicked. It was catchy. Did you stick with that tune when trying to learn it, or did you consume the whole album back then?
I I definitely couldn't like learn the whole song. I was still like maybe a year into my
Okay.
guitar journey at that
Yeah.
point, so like could not keep up with it. But like I still love the album, and I think this album started this like tradition I have of like just falling asleep to an album,
Oh,
and,
wow.
and I just fall in love with that album when I do
Nice.
that.
Nice. Are you, do you relatively fall asleep pretty quickly once you've started, or do you
Oh no.
toss and turn a
I
bit?
am up for hours. Like I have terrible insomnia.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're it's not like track one and half of track two and then the rest is being funneled in while you're out. You're awake.
Sometimes. But I do love like dozing off while the album's still going, and like it's
It's
almost trippy
it's
in a
still getting
way.
in there, right?
Yeah.
It's not like it's shut off and it's just playing to the room. It's
Mhm.
still getting in there somehow.
Yeah, and I just like kind of melt into the music as I drift
Cool.
off. I don't know.
Cool.
I found like that is the quickest way for me to fall in love with an album is to just listen to it while I fall asleep.
Interesting. Okay, so how much of the rest of their catalog have you poked around at?
Oh, pretty much all of it. I as I was learning guitar, I did eventually learn like their first, I think, 4 albums pretty much all the way through at the time. Whether I was like good at actually playing it or not, I'm
Right,
not sure.
right.
But yeah, I was obsessed. Like this album definitely coincided with my obsession with like learning guitar at the same time, and it's such a guitar like centric album. So that definitely played into it.
Okay. So what can you tell me about the title and the titles of some of their other albums? Is there a well or like a source,
Yeah,
where
so Coheed and Cambria's discography, short of like maybe an album or two, is all told through like a single concept instead of like one concept album. Like the entire discography tells one
it's crazy.
connected story.
What I mean to commit to that
Right.
out of the gate.
Yeah, and they've been telling the story for like 20, 25
It's
years at this point.
insane.
Yeah, it's a huge commitment. And yeah, so this is um the concept in general is like this like Star Wars ish kind of like sci-fi space whatever rebellion versus an evil empire kind of
Yeah.
story. This album though is kind of a weird place in that concept where it gets super meta.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I don't know if you've read like the Stephen King's Dark Tower series at
Uh-uh.
all. Okay. So this album kind of like draws inspiration from what Stephen King does in the Dark Tower, where he basically inserts himself as the author, the writer, into the story. So like this album tells the story of the writer writing the sci-fi saga.
Wow.
And
Okay.
his like he goes through this like terrible breakup where his girlfriend cheats on him, and so he has to like through his like psychotic episode kill off the character in his story that he based off of his girlfriend
Oh
to
wow.
find peace.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of fucked up. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So who's Apollo? Is it a god? Is it a character?
it's a dog.
A
in the story.
dog.
It's that girlfriend's dog.
Okay.
Basically. So like I guess the overall framework is like the writer telling this story to the dog.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Burning Star 4. What's happening there?
So, oh man, this is some really deep, nerdy Coheed lore.
Man, I'm here for it.
If you want to get into it. So the space empire, whatever universe that's being ruled, is this formation of 78 planets locked into this like triangle formation, connected by this energy beam.
Cool.
And it comes out along the story that this energy beam is powered through the souls of all the people who've died.
Wow.
In this like solar system kind of figure. So the the main character is this like messiah figure where he has to burn stars that are powering this system to
Whoa.
free the souls
Oh my God.
that are pretty much damned.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Huh. I'm Burning Star 4 Volume 1. Are there other I'm Burning Star 4 volumes?
Yeah, the album afterwards, it shows up on like Spotify as just No World for Tomorrow, but it is volume 2.
Okay,
Like,
okay.
That's the official title. I don't know why they
Wow.
shortened it for streaming or whatever. But
Huh. Such a trip. Very cool. And again, I'm so glad you had it on your list. 1 week later, as you mentioned, Broken Bride, Ludo. 3 LPs and 1 EP that I could see. 5 tracks, 27 minutes for this one. Alternative rock out of St. Louis. Never heard of these guys, so tell me all there is to know.
yeah, they're just a bunch of nerds.
Okay.
And they love making some wacky, silly music, and
Okay.
I'm all here for it. But this is like their only concept piece, I guess. Like,
Oh,
so I don't know, like Good Apollo got me hooked on concept albums. That was my gateway to like progressive rock and concept albums and all that, and that kind of like
you
led me down the rabbit hole of all these other concept
land
albums.
on Good Apollo before dabbling with Rush or Yes or anything like that?
Yep.
Well, have you since?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
for sure. Like
okay.
the comparisons to Rush that Coheed gets all the time is just constant.
I
So
mean,
like that was an obvious
Putting my
nice-
eyeballs on the track listing, and I was like, dude, that can't be coincidental.
oh,
Like,
yeah.
Okay. Genesis. Do you ever mess around with early Genesis?
a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't taken like a deep dive, but yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, this Broken Bride is Ludo's only concept piece. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it tells this story of this guy's wife dies in a car crash, and through his grief, decides to build a time machine, like you do,
As
to
one
go back in
does.
time
In
and-
mourning
Yeah,
the passing of
stop
your
his wife
spouse.
from dying. Yeah, and along the way, he ends up crashing in like prehistoric times, and then
Oh shit.
has to fix the machine while fighting a T-Rex or something crazy like that. And then he ends up flung into the far future during the zombie apocalypse.
Oh
and
no.
then somehow there's a dragon involved. I don't know. It's so campy and wild, and I love it. But then they like really bring it home at the very end and just like totally tug on your heartstrings. So like this guy travels all through time to save his wife, and at the very end he realizes that he can't change any of it. He can't save her, and so he just decides to get in the car with her and die in the car crash with her.
Wow. Man, all for naught, or all for better, I guess, depending on your perspective. Fascinating that, you gave one of your 5 spots to an EP.
I mean, I gave you like several hour-long albums
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
So like,
but also fascinating that in the collective discographies of all the artists that made your list, there's EPs sprinkled everywhere. Like, which is fascinating because gonna sound like an old man here, which is accurate because that's what I am. But nowadays, for all you artists out there that making records in your basement, it seems like the EP is a frequent go-to because you can get it out there and then start working on it, which is not a knock. I totally get it. It's still this whole the digital world of consuming music is evolving every day.
oh, for sure, it definitely comes into like people's attention spans.
Yep.
And
Yep.
but also it's can also be a financial thing for artists. Like it's
Fair.
a lot easier to get more music out there in shorter bursts.
Yes.
If you can only pay for
Yes.
like 5 songs.
Yes. And the only reason I'm mentioning it is because it felt like in the 90s and the early 2000s, like there was a stamp or a story or a meaning or a purpose behind the EP. And I know folks did it back then for various reasons, and some of those reasons may be similar to why folks make that choice today. It's not a knock. It's just like, yeah, I know that there are others, and I discovered others before this particular pairing, but my go-to is always Jar of Flies and Sap by Alice in Chains. Are you familiar with these two records?
A little
These
bit,
two
yeah.
EPs?
Yeah.
Wildly Curious, they not only made an EP, but then made a second EP. And they're phenomenal. And they have a theme. They have cohesion. They have I don't know what it is, but that collection of songs, like, they have to be together and in the track listing sequence that they chose. And it's always just so cool. And not to say that doesn't happen, often or commonly.
Sure, but I agree. Like that's what makes EPs compelling to me is like it doesn't have to be a full length album of just like random songs and whatever. Like this can still be like a cohesive piece of art.
Sure, sure. So Ludo, finally, we get springboarded to 2007. And I apologize that I'd learned after it was too late that had I found a color image, it's actually a way more beautiful cover art in color than it is black and white. But the black and white one's nice too. Not into the whole brevity thing, as they say in the Big Lebowski. Act 2, the meaning of and all things regarding misleading, MS period, leading. The Deer Hunter from 2007. I think this is 2 of 8 for them, 15 tracks, 76 minutes. More prog rock, this time coming from Providence, Rhode Island. This dude got his start with the receiving end of Sirens.
Yep.
How's this one wind up in your lap?
Kind of a similar situation like the Coheed fan forums and just like, oh, this guy from the receiving end of Sirens left the band. He's putting out this whole new project. You got to listen to it. It's nothing like anything you've ever heard, whatever. And it's a similar project. Like the Deer Hunter is a concept band where like each act is telling a continuous story throughout the entire discography, basically.
Yeah. What's the rough time frame when you're poking around in these fan forums?
I'd say like 2007 to 2010
Okay.
was probably the peak.
So are we already deep into smartphone land at that time, or are you getting on a computer? What do you?
It'd be my family computer. Like I didn't have a smartphone until I'll say like 2011 at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were, when you're gonna go read about this stuff, I'm gonna go get on the internet, like go into a desktop.
Oh
right?
yeah, like a lot of these bands I would find on that forum, and then I would go to LimeWire because I didn't have money and whatever. So I would sit there waiting for like 5-10 minutes for these songs to download because it took forever back then. And in the meantime, I would hop on like Wikipedia or whatever and just read through what's up with these bands. If there's like a concept, I'll read through like the story of the concept to like get a summary of what's going on. And honestly, like that would get me even more hooked on the music itself.
Yeah, you're invested.
It's like the early digital age of liner notes, basically.
Yes. So I did see he's in Coheed and Cambria, starts this thing, and then it's like, oh no, this is my thing now. I'm no longer. Do you know how that lineup shift went? Are they all still pals?
I'm not sure how like the band breakup went per se, like that was so long ago. But they have done like some reunion shows
Okay.
pretty recently.
Okay.
So
So with him leaving to do the Deer Hunter, do you feel like there's a point in the Coheed and Cambria catalog where you can totally tell that he was there and then he wasn't, or is it all?
he was in the receiving end of Sirens.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I think I
But,
said that wrong twice.
No, you're good. So it, the the receiving end of Sirens, like first album, Between the Heart and Synapse, was definitely like its own unique thing. They did put out a second album after Casey left the band, and it's just it's good, but it's not this.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. And then from there we leap all the way to 2015. Peripheral Vision by Turnover. Second of 5, 11 tracks, 39 minutes. Massachusetts to New York to St. Louis to Providence, bringing it all home from Virginia Beach, Virginia, with some straight up American rock, if you will. This, you know, they were all fun listens. This almost was poking at me, saying Field Daze has drawn inspiration from this sound. Am I off on that?
100%.
I'm off.
No,
that.
no.
Oh, okay.
You nailed it. So this album, like the first 4 albums, are very much like my teenage self, like discovering music and like building my musical journey. And this album is more of like me currently and like what's inspired my more recent musical tastes and like where I stand now, I feel like.
Nice. Okay.
But yeah. So my wife and I did like a cover of Hello Euphoria track 4 there.
Really?
Yeah, and I posted that on Facebook over COVID or whatever. And that is what got the attention of Dan, our singer.
Really?
Now. And yeah.
So you're playing and she's singing in this cover?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And yeah, that's kind of what kicked off Field Daze is
Wow.
that cover.
Okay. Nice. Very cool. So are they done as far as we know?
No, they're still around.
They're still around.
Yeah.
Okay. So 1 before this and 3 since. Is that right? This is 2 of 5?
So.
Okay. Have you consumed 3, 4, and 5?
I like them. I don't know. This was definitely like a special moment in their discography. I feel like it was a turning point because like before they were very much more of the heavier, like kind of like the other 4 albums on there. Mm-hmm. And then they like totally stripped back their sound and got super dreamy, very like slower, not so like hardcore punk sort of sound.
Sure.
And ever since, like every album has kind of evolved their sound into something totally different.
Huh. Fascinating.
Yeah.
So you said Brad's episode and Joshua James's episode. Did you stick through them till the end?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Most folks don't. Like, and so when we get to the point where I got to ask you goofy questions, they're like, what? And so, which is fine. Either way is fine. It always is, more entertaining to me if folks don't know. So they've given it 0 thought and just got to whatever off the top. But we'll do that and then we'll wrap and get you out of here.
All right, let's do it.
So the first is, you're given the ability to have a cup of coffee with anybody of your choosing, dead or alive. Who are you choosing and why?
That's tough. I want to say Will Yip. He's the producer of Peripheral Vision, and he's like
you're a producer now.
Exactly. Yeah, he is definitely like one of my bigger inspirations on the production side. He always works with like these up and coming kind of unknown rock bands and tries to like help them, lift them up, and give them life as well. And like that inspires me a lot, and kind of just like understanding how he came up and learned everything that he has. And yeah,
Wow.
I just love to pick his brain.
I mean, 6 total letters in his first and last name, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that alone caught my eye, but I'm pretty sure on the opening line of their wiki page it's mentioned, or maybe it's the opening line of this album's page.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just like, wow, I've never heard of that person, but interesting that it was they led with it like
Yeah.
right out of the
Well,
gate.
I'm sure it helps. Like he's kind of hit like a renaissance period for himself too. Right now, he's almost becoming his own celebrity in the production world, I guess. So he just produced the Turnstile album that's been nominated for a
Okay.
Grammy.
Okay.
So like he's kind of riding his high right now.
Okay. Cool. So you're having a cup of coffee with him. Are you gonna fanboy out? Are you gonna totally not talk about the business? Is it a mix?
It's tough not to fanboy.
I know,
Bit.
right? I know.
But yeah, I'd love to pick his brain on also the business side too, of
Sure.
like how to keep the dream alive, how to like also work life balance. Like that dude has some crazy output. He works, I don't know, does like a dozen albums a year or something
Wow.
like that. I don't know. So I don't know, just like figuring out how he does it, his philosophy on things,
Yeah.
and how to work with different types of artists and
Yeah.
how to help them. Yeah.
So I've said this before. It's hard not to be repetitive when, it's just me on this end.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there is an absolute precise required freshness necessary to do the work of producing and mixing. Because, like if you're looking, your eyes get tired if you read too long or look at a screen too long, and you sort of, it all sort of blurs.
Mm-hmm.
If you're interested in manipulating the mix to be whatever your end goal is, your desire is, you have to step away, in my opinion,
Definitely.
and come back fresh so that you're sharp and you're listening for the thing that you think you want to hear.
Yeah, it's so easy to get whatever audio comparison is to tunnel vision.
Yeah.
So yeah, like taking breaks constantly, and like I'll always try and like take a day off from working on a specific song or album or whatever before I like end up mastering it, and just to like try and get some objectivity back.
Yeah.
And
So when
it's
you're
hard.
having that cup of coffee with Will Yip, you got to say, what's the secret, man? How are you cranking out all these albums and staying on top of your game, right?
Yeah, like I'm just like reading his discography. Like the dude can't sleep. I don't know how he does it.
It's nuts. Okay, so if you can, if we can pretend or imagine that we all have a personal and a professional bucket list, you're given all the necessary resources to go knock out number one on each of those lists. What are those number ones for Rodd Fenton?
I mean, it's especially tough because like my professional bucket list and my personal one is so intertwined now.
Yeah.
Like working for myself. So that's hard. I feel like I already kind of hit the personal bucket list one of like do my dream job.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I've already hit it, and
Okay.
I want to do this for as long as I can, as
Sure.
long as it makes sense. And I'm just happy to be here. I'm super happy with all the people that I get to work with.
Very nice.
So
So
it's hard to top that.
We've both talked on multiple occasions about nerding out and being a nerd, and I, for many years considered that a knock, but I embrace it now. I know I'm a nerd in numerous ways, so I say it with compassion when I say it. Are you of a business mindset where you have, I don't know, calendar year goals or objectives, or is there a growth anything like that for Solstice?
I I mean, I'm not like setting out to hit my own personal KPIs of studio business, whatever. I just want to have like some slow, steady growth of like being sustainable, and
Okay.
that's the main thing. And I'd love to obviously like work on bigger and bigger projects as I go. But as long as I'm working with people that I love working with, working on music that I enjoy, and helping people like that, that's the main thing for me.
Cool. Do you think that um, you don't have to be specific per se, but whatever the growth that you directly envision or subconsciously envision, do you think that that involves outgrowing the space that you have now, or can it all be done there?
I've considered like a commercial space at some point, and I've also like there are studios here in town where you can just like rent out the studio,
Right.
bring clients in,
Yeah.
whatever. Like I think that's more of a reasonable approach to like bigger projects if I need to.
Mm.
But I've gotten pretty good over the years at like making do with the space that I have. So and people are pretty happy with the results.
Good.
I hope
Yeah.
with what I am working with now. So it's a harder sell at this point to like tell people, oh well, if you hire me and you want to work in a bigger studio for I don't know the Instagram pictures that you get out of it, like
Oh yeah. No.
you're gonna end up paying more. You're gonna have to pay for the studio rental on top of
Yeah.
my own rate,
Yeah.
and that's what you get at a commercial studio too. But yeah, like I think, especially in the era where like major label mixers and producers work out of their own home studios too, like that's becoming more and more common.
Okay. Okay.
And like saving the money on the overhead's always good, obviously. But I think the technology is there. Like you don't need to have a commercial studio
Right.
for a good product.
Yeah. So you're mixing, mastering, producing, doing all these things. You also are recording live or no? Like, are folks coming and doing takes in your space?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought so. I mean, if an outfit has 2 people or 5 people, you can make that happen.
So I live record my own band's rehearsals just because I can for a 5 piece. It is a mix between like miking the drum set live and then like DIing guitars and just for simplicity's sake. But
Sorry, what's that to the guitars?
DI, direct injection, whatever. It's plugging from the guitar into the interface
Oh,
instead of like miking an amp.
okay. Okay.
Just to like keep the guitar sound out of the drum mics and
Yeah.
cut
Oh,
down
gotcha.
on
Yeah.
bleed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So like I do a mix of that. But like Eggs on Mars, when I recorded their 3 projects that I worked with them on, like they're a 3 piece. I can easily fit them all in my space. They cut like the main body of their music live.
Cool. Very cool. You're given the ability to, and I'm not trying to rush past your personal and professional bucket list. I think it's fantastic. It's actually been somewhat common of late in recent episodes for folks to be like, I've been pretty lucky, pretty blessed. I've worked hard, and like, I don't really want for much.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it gives me hope that one day life on this planet might look a little less crazy than it does right now. But so it's cool. I'm glad for you.
Yeah.
You're given the ability to visit your past self at any age of your choosing. What age are you choosing, and what are you saying? And we're not interested in changing who you became, and this is not a
Sure.
a regret thing. But
Yeah. I don't know, maybe like that 16-year-old me who was like trapping himself in his bedroom doing those guitar covers and just like I don't know, just telling myself it's gonna work out. Like what you're doing is leading towards something, even if it feels like you're just spinning your wheels right now.
This is the correct path, grasshopper.
Yeah.
Nice. You're aware that at some point there was a television program called Fear Factor.
Mm-hmm.
Reality TV, early days, you win the prize for doing the gross stuff or whatever. This is not that. This is real life. You got to get from point A to point B, and right there in the middle is your biggest source of heebie-jeebies, willies, anxiety, actual fear, whatever it may be, but you got to get past it. What is it?
Oh man. I've always had a phobia of like just stinging insects. Like beyond natural, like, oh, I don't want to be stung, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like instant skin crawl, just like I don't want to be near them, nothing. I don't know.
Have you been stung?
Yeah, I stepped on a bee once. It was fine. Oh, and I got stung by a wasp mowing the lawn once. And
Okay.
Like I didn't even know it was a wasp, so I don't know if I like got the full stinger experience or whatever, but
Now,
it was fine.
I, as a young person, guaranteed any of those in my vicinity, I'm freaking out. Run, swatting,
Mhm.
In recent years, there's been a lot of talk of how important the bees are, right? And
Oh,
we're
yeah.
killing them off and by whatever shitty human thing we're doing. But the wasps and the yellow, all those other, like, forget about them.
Trash.
Right.
All of them.
But we need the bees. And that is, I just experienced it like today and yesterday, where I stepped outside and I was just standing there, probably looking at my phone, and a bee just showed up and was kind of just there for a second and went about its business, and I didn't react at all. And I was like, oh, that's good. You don't want to upset it. It's not here to hurt me or attack me, and we need the bee to go do bee things.
I feel like I've made peace with bees. Like I think tricked myself into thinking, oh, they're actually kind of cute.
Yeah,
Especially the fuzzy
exactly.
ones.
Yeah.
I don't hate on bees.
There you
obviously.
go.
But yeah, wasps and yellow jackets, and
Dude.
like the final boss, the hornets. Like fuck those.
I mean, last week my daughter was out back with the dog, and she came in and she's like, Dad, and I was like, yeah. She's like, the start of the little mud
Mhm.
on the outside of the bathroom window down. I was like, what? Like, I was incensed, and I went and got the spray, and I was like, you fucking get out.
We get them all the time too.
Do you really?
Yeah.
And this is like the third time in the last handful of years that I've sprayed and knocked and nothing's in there. And like, you started to build a home and then you just moved. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so I've heard that if you leave the empty nests there, it actually, like, they're super territorial and they'll not build another nest like close by because there's already something there.
Interesting. Well, that's a fascinating phobia. I feel you on it. Last but not least, please complete this for me. The world would immediately become a better place in which to live, if only.
I'd say, like, if people listened to understand instead of listen to reply or talk back or whatever.
Excellent.
To react.
Yeah, excellent. That's all great answers. So at Solstice Audio on Instagram, solsticeaudio.com, YouTube, Facebook, and then Field Daze with 2 D's and a ZE there. Field Daze KC Mo on Instagram, plus fielddazekc.com. Get you all of your studio info and all of the band info. Any other plugs?
I think you nailed it.
Okay. Thanks for listening to the episodes that you listened to prior to, and thanks for being here. Is there anything that you had hoped that we would cover that we did not?
Honestly, you were super thorough. Like, hey, you hit it. Like, so. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Right on. Yeah. Rodd Fenton, it was a pleasure to meet you. I appreciate you sharing some of your Tuesday evening with me, and hope to talk to you soon.
Thanks.
Thanks.